Over half of all Americans report being addicted to their phones. It is a massive, incredibly common problem. The physical consequences are actually ridiculous. People regularly take their devices into the bathroom and emerge an hour later with completely none legs. Some people try to solve this by going to the extreme, completely abandoning technology and living off the grid like the Amish. A more common attempt is switching the screen to grayscale, with the hope that removing colors will make the device too boring to look at. But people in the 1930s and 40s watched everything in black and white and still stared at their screens for hours. It does not actually stop you from consuming content. Another popular tactic is the social media cleanse. But taking a temporary break usually creates a rubber band effect, where you relapse even harder the moment you log back in. True distraction proofing relies on permanent, systemic changes to your device and environment. These structural adjustments work where temporary aesthetic shifts fail. A notification is an algorithmic trap. It is a tool specifically engineered to break your concentration and steal your attention. Step 1 is going directly into your phone's settings and disabling absolutely every notification, except for text messages and essential phone calls. The psychological relief is immediate when you look down and see a perfectly clean lock screen. Do not fall into the trap of leaving your email or social media direct messages active. Unless it is an actual emergency, those updates can wait. Taking back control starts by making the phone silent by default. You are reverting it back into a tool rather than a constant alarm. In his book Atomic Habits, James Clear outlines a method called environmental design. It works by altering your physical proximity to bad habits to make them harder to execute. To apply this to your bedroom, mandate that your phone charger is moved entirely across the room, far out of arm's reach from the bed. Because your phone is no longer next to your bed, you will need to buy a simple $10 physical alarm clock to protect your morning routine. Morning scrolling floods your brain with high-intensity stimuli, creating a fractured focus baseline that persists the entire day. You should extend these rules to your workspace as well. When you need to focus, hide the phone under a pillow or in a different room. That instinctive reach for your phone is usually just a psychological coping mechanism. Your brain wants to escape uncomfortable, stressful, or difficult work tasks. Introducing physical distance creates a necessary barrier of friction that sheer willpower alone cannot consistently provide. Next, you need to draft explicit, non-negotiable if-then usage rules to govern your situational behavior. For example, you could set a strict boundary that enforces a complete ban on phone usage while you are actively hanging out with friends. Native operating system limits, like Apple's screen time, fail at enforcing this. They have a fatal flaw, the easily bypassed ignore limit button. The actual foolproof solution is using hard stop blocking software, like the JOMO app, the Freedom app, or BlockSite. You configure these apps to completely lock out trigger applications, keeping platforms like Instagram or TikTok inaccessible until specific times of day, like 3 p.m. You will immediately validate this setup the next time you act on impulse, open a trigger app, and hit a literal gray screen. Outsourcing your discipline to unyielding software prevents you from having to constantly fight against billion-dollar algorithms using only your willpower. Once your environment is distraction-proofed, you can finally achieve a state of deep work. This is a concept popularized by author Cal Newport, referring to professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration. This chart shows the comparison. Standard multitasking reveals a highly fractured timeline of output volume, taking hours to complete. But removing those fractures creates massive efficiency. 15 minutes of unbroken concentration often yields more progress than an hour switching tabs. There will be short-term discomfort and withdrawal symptoms as your brain adjusts, but the long-term cognitive payoff is massive. Breaking the digital cycle allows your attention span to finally extend, keeping you fully present and focused on the real world. So here is your 1-week challenge. Strictly use the physical alarm clock and track the subsequent drop in your weekly screen time reports. Your smartphone is meant to extend human capabilities, not consume your human consciousness. Remember to subscribe to this channel and then put your phone down.